The United Nations World Food Program, or WFP, says that it needs 100 trucks a day to arrive in Tigray to reverse the region's catastrophic humanitarian food crisis.
A United Nations World Food Program WFP convoy of 50 trucks arrived in the Tigrayan capital of Mekele Monday with 900 metric tons of food as well as other emergency supplies. It was the first humanitarian convoy to reach Tigray since WFP restarted operations in the northwest on 2 July following fighting. Of the 50 trucks, 29 truckloads transported food commodities comprising of wheat, split peas, and vegetable oil, enough to cover the most pressing urgent food needs of 200,000 people for a week. This is not enough. We need 100 trucks to be moving in on any given day for half the time we are to reverse the catastrophic humanitarian situation in the region.
Tigray faces one of the world's worst famines in decades since fighting broke out between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front last year, with over 400,000 people affected. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden delivers an impassioned speech on voting rights at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, voting to sign the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and calling on Congress to restore the Voting Rights Act to its intended strength.
The court's decision, as harmful as it is, does not limit the Congress's ability to repair the damage done. That's the important point. It puts the burden back on Congress to restore the Voting Rights Act to its intended strength. As soon as Congress passes the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, I will sign it and let the whole world see it. That will be an important moment. There's an unfolding assault taking place in America today, an attempt to suppress and subvert the right to vote and fair and free elections, an assault on democracy, an assault on liberty, an assault on who we are as Americans. For make no mistake, bullies and merchants of fear, peddlers of lies, are threatening the very foundation of our country.
State Department spokesperson Ned Price condemns the governments of Cuba for any violence against those protesting peacefully, and of Venezuela for the unjust detention of 2015 National Assembly Representative Freddy Guevara.
We remain deeply concerned by the Cuban government's, quote, call to combat, and by the images of violence that we have seen over the past 2 days. We call for calm and we condemn any violence against those protesting peacefully, and we equally call on the Cuban government to release anyone detained for peaceful protest.
He also warns businesses that they risk violating U.S. law if they do not exit supply chains connected to Chinese human rights abuses and forced labor in Xinjiang.
The advisory notes that the Department of State's determination that the PRC government is perpetrating genocide and crimes against humanity in Xinjiang. It cautions that given the severity and extent of these and other abuses, businesses and individuals that do not exit supply chains, ventures, and investments connected to Xinjiang could run a high risk of violating U.S. law.
Here's today's COVID-19 numbers. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University and Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, July 13, 2021, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 187,614,000. Top three on the list of countries with recorded cases are the U.S. at over 33.9 million, India at over 30.9 million, and Brazil at over 19.1 million. This virus has now already claimed more than 4 million lives worldwide. Top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are the U.S. with more than 607,000, Brazil with more than 534,000, and India with more than 410,000. Total vaccine doses administered worldwide is now at 3,491,295,571. 4 workers are dead and another is missing as a crane collapses in Western Canada. With more on this unfortunate event, Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness reports.
Thanks, Alan. You know, this is really tragic. When you leave your home for your job in the morning, you always expect you'll make it home at the end of the workday. But that wasn't the case yesterday in the British Columbia city of Kelowna. It's in Western Canada. A crane collapsed in the downtown area, killing 4 members of a construction crew. The crane was attached to a 25-story building that was under construction, and when it fell, workers had just started to dismantle it. The top piece struck a couple of adjacent buildings, one of them a senior's home, the other an office building. Today, police confirmed the 4 deaths of the work crew. A 5th man who was in an adjacent building is unaccounted for. He was apparently working in a commercial building. He's believed to be buried under the rubble and is presumed dead. Structural engineers are on the scene trying to determine the next step in stabilizing the site. An evacuation order remains in effect for several blocks. You see, there's a 250-foot, that's 72-meter tower that still remains precariously attached to the side of the building under construction. And if that falls, obviously, depending which direction it fell, there would be other structures in its way. Obviously, authorities don't want to risk a further collapse. At this point, it's too early to say what caused this tragedy. Several departments of the government are investigating. Thomas Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Well, our thoughts are certainly with those who have been affected by that unfortunate incident. Now, Thomas, we also understand that the province of British Columbia is still in that heat wave. How is the forest fire situation over there?
The province is just baking. These are record temperatures that have been set so far this fire season. So far, there's been more than 1,000 fires in the province since the fire season began. Now, let's put this into perspective. In a normal year, there are only about 1,300 for the entire season, and we're almost at that number already, and it's just getting underway. Right now, about 306 active fires, more than a third of them out of control, and of those out of control blazes, 24 of them are classified as fires of note. And what this means is they pose a threat to public safety. They're not only out of control, but they're out of control in an area where people can be harmed. Evacuation orders have been put in place in a number of areas, and thousands of others remain on alert, ready to leave their homes at a moment's notice if the situation worsens. And the problem likely will worsen as hot, dry weather conditions will continue. Basically, Alan, what is needed is a good soaking week-long rain, just a steady soaking drizzle. And that's just not in the forecast right now. Alan?
We know you'll keep us updated over there, Thomas, but, to shift gears just a bit, you mentioned that it's baking over there. We want to forget about baking. We want to talk about frying because, as you know, we'll be talking later about National Fry Day. So what we want to know, Thomas, before we let you go is, are you a big fry guy?
I am, if they're good fries. Unfortunately, the best fries I had, I can't get anymore. They were made by my late mother. She did homemade fries, cut up the potatoes and put them in a deep fryer, they were just magnificent. Nothing like the fast food stuff you get today. Alan?
Nothing beats those home recipes. Thank you, Thomas, my fellow fry guy. A recent report released by the state of California shows how much was spent on directly responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. And that price tag, well, it isn't cheap. Emerson Simon reports.
Thank you, Alan. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a difficult time for everyone, especially for taxpayers of California who had sacrificed a lot of time and energy in order to keep their careers and families afloat. The government of the state has also had to go the extra mile in order to keep the economy in a stable state. According to a recent report by California Department of Finance, the state has spent $12.3 billion dedicated to total direct pandemic emergency response between 2020 and 2022. The figure does not even include the $106 $10 billion given to California from the federal government in Washington, D.C. to fund stimulus programs for unemployment people and struggling businesses. With these stunning figures, it's easy to question how and why so much money could be spent. A good place to start is to address the $1.4 billion deal struck by the state and mass manufacturers for healthcare workers and later on, the general public. Extra hospital beds for every medical center in state were needed. Testings for the virus and public health lab equipment cost a combined $3 billion. California school districts also needed laptops and other equipment for the millions of students who suddenly could no longer attend school in person. These government's funds have also been crucial in helping the state go back to its normal state through the $1.4 billion dedicated to the COVID vaccine rollout, which has been largely successful as 20 million Californians to this date are now fully vaccinated. Although vaccines rollout is slowing, more programs are being developed to reach out the hesitant communities or those who cannot access the needed treatments. Lastly, food support for the less fortunate are very positive initiatives have the California government has invested their resources in, with food banks being given $230 million in grants, as well as the launch of food delivery programs, which can feed up to 500,000 people, depending on the location. Food production companies have also been given the funds they needed to ensure that every city, every resident of the state has access to homegrown natural foods. California has a long way to go before the COVID-19 pandemic can officially be declared as defeated. But the Golden State has shown its resilience and willingness to devote its resources to help the general public through these spending figures. In Silmar, California, Emerson Simon, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Now, Emerson, do you know, is there any concrete explanation as to why the state of California decided to take this big risk of spending billions on the pandemic, even when debt owed from this time period could pile up quickly when they do this?
Well, Alan, if any less was spent on the medical field or even other divisions, more lives could have been lost in the state. Sadly, more than 63,000 Californians have died from COVID-19, and this number could have been much higher if the state decided to neglect the medical field. As of now, disaster economists in the state say the cost of lives that were lost in the pandemic in the United States adds up to around $6.2 trillion. The key point is that saving lives costs a lot of money. So the state has made efforts to ensure that the damage the state would face would not be so severe. Alan.
Well, we all know California is a golden state. And speaking of, we're talking about golden French fries. And we've also been talking about the pandemic. A lot of people have claimed that they've gained pandemic weight. Emerson, you look wonderful. But when it comes to our eating habits, have French fries been on the rise when it comes to you personally during the pandemic?
Absolutely. They're like chips to me.
I love it. All right, Emerson, we'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right.
Up next, more updates from our team here in California. Eagle News America continues.
Factual.
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
Timely information. Balanced. Not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Aguila Pilipinas. A 1-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Aguila Provincia. Tune into Mata ng Aguila, the evening primetime news program of Net 25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Agila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science, and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International delivers the latest global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to explain our help outdoor.
Catch these programs on Net 25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basayahe in Los Angeles. A recent study shows that there are high levels of racial segregation in housing in most California metropolitan areas. To tell us more, Eagle News correspondent Maricar Borja reports.
Thank you, Alan. California is a state that prides itself on progressiveness and the multicultural diversity and harmony that cannot be found in other parts of the country. In an era where social justice is a common topic among people, especially young people, many believe that aspect America carries, such as segregation or racism, are a relic of the past. Yet a new study from the University of California, Berkeley's Othering and Belonging Institute reveals that most California metropolitan areas have high levels of racial segregation in housing, which has worsened over the last 2 decades. This study defines segregation as the separation of people based on racial or ethnic background, and this organization had aimed to discover how all kinds of people, such as white, Asian, Black, and Latino communities, tend to stick together in their neighborhoods instead of being integrated. For example, the cities of Walnut and Monterey Park have an Asian population of nearly 70%. Meanwhile, the community of East Los Angeles has a Latino population of 97%. From the statistics, it could be found that the Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim metropolitan area is the nation's sixth most racially segregated region of 200,000 residents or more. Other California areas with high levels of segregation include San Francisco, Oakland, and San Diego areas. The state has tried to reduce the high rates of housing segregation by introducing models where neighborhoods could manage to include apartments, single and multi-family homes in all one neighborhood, with the hopes that by having people from all walks of life live together in one place, neighborhoods can become more racially integrated and diverse. However, community members in all places, suburban, urban areas alike, do not consider this initiative to be in their best interests. And for now, due to California's high housing prices and the economic burdens many have struggled with during the pandemic, makes the racial diversity of their neighborhoods not such a big worry on their radar. In Van Nuys, California, Maricar Borja, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Maricar, one would think that with such an incredibly diverse state as California, that there would be more racial interaction. But what about this organization who created this study you reported on? What's their claim to be the consequences of avoiding racially diverse spaces or of never interacting with people that aren't of your race?
Of course, Alan, it's a very loaded question, but I would like to say that the answer to that question is not really set on one thing, considering the complexity of the topic. However, this study's key point is that racially segregated neighborhoods cause some to lose out on opportunities related to education, healthcare, or more. But in terms of community, it's important for people to better understand, appreciate, and respect one another in order to create safe and welcoming environments. Otherwise, without communication, stereotypes and assumptions about others may arise, and even violence can occur when people do not work together. Alan?
Maricar, not that it would solve every problem, but we do know that bringing people together at the dinner table tends to help everyone to interact. So with that said, since we're talking about National Fry Day, in your opinion or in your experience, are French fries more of a side or could they actually be a main course?
Oh, absolutely a main course. Of course, if you put a lot of stuff on it, yes.
And we're going to talk about some of that stuff a little later on in the broadcast. No hesitation with your response. Thank you, Maricar, for your report. Are you a property owner in Los Angeles challenged by the economic impact of COVID-19? In an effort to provide tax relief to private and commercial property owners impacted by the pandemic, LA County offers property value reduction assessment. To tell us more about this, Maylin Dineros reports.
Thank you, Alan. So from July 2nd until November 30th of this year, Los Angeles County residents who believe that their property has suffered a decline in market value may file a request with the Office of the Assessor for an evaluation of their property. The implications of reduced taxes for both personal and commercial property owners, especially those neighborhood or business sectors, have struggled financially due to the pandemic, could equate to some genuine cost savings. Under California's Proposition 8, a temporary reduction in property value may be granted when said property has experienced what's called a decline in value. To qualify, the worth of a property must be estimated as less than the January 1st current assessed value. In an effort to spread the word, the Office of the Assessor has already mailed decline in value review notifications to some 59,000 property owners with current reductions on their property. Another 1,400 notifications were sent to owners of commercial properties, which the Office of the Assessor considers as likely having suffered economic setbacks due to the pandemic and thus are potential candidates for 2021 temporary assessed reduction in value. Before beginning the application process, owners must be prepared to prove that beginning January 1st, the market value of their property was less than its present assessed value. Next, Form RP87, a decline in value review application, must be filed with the Office of the Assessor by the November 30th deadline. A print and mail application is available for download on the Assessor's website. Alternatively, property owners may file online. Both of these options can be assessed by visiting assessor.lacounty.gov/decline-in-value. To make the strongest case for a decline in value assessment, owners should gather documentation reflecting the selling price of similar properties. This is called presenting a comparable sale. Comparable sales should highlight how much properties with similar features are sold for. Take homes, for instance, properties located in the same neighborhood or zoning area with near matching square footage, number of bedrooms and baths, the year it's built, and condition can provide useful information in trying to determine a house's value. There are different online sites that can assist owners trying to collect property sales statistics, one of which is the county's assessor's website that holds sales information for properties that have sold within the past 2 years. Once again, if data supports the claim that the market value for the property is less than the assessed value, then a decline in value review application might be worthwhile. In Santa Maria, California, Maylin Dineros, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
And now, Maylin, in the example wherein a property is successfully assessed as reduced in value, how long does a property owner benefit from that decline in value status?
At least a year, Alan. However, the assessed value is still subject to the January 1st market value assigned to the property for every year that follows, which means that the assessed value can either dip or rise. Then there are still what's called the trended base value, the annual inflation factor, and other terminology that, let's just face it, will confuse a lot of taxpayers. Fortunately, on the assessor's webpage is an online chat feature, which will probably be useful to those who, despite their best attempts at research, nonetheless have lots of questions. Alan.
One foodstuffs that we're pretty sure never experiences a decline in value are French fries. And speaking of, the last time you had an occasion to enjoy French fries, Did you order the small or the large?
Definitely large, Alan. I particularly love animal style fries. Love it.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and we'll talk more about it in a little bit. Thank you, Maylin, for your report. In Panorama City, a tragic incident ended the life of a man climbing out of a manhole by a hit-and-run driver. Aaron Tutar reports.
Thank you, Alan. The Los Angeles Police Department, or LAPD, is asking the public's assistance for any information on the vehicle or driver involved in a bizarre fatal accident with a pedestrian that occurred this past weekend here in Panorama City. The tragic situation took place at 10:25 a.m. on Saturday, July 10th. The pickup truck, described as white in color with the make and model to be a Chevrolet Silverado, was moving westbound on Parthenia Street. A male pedestrian, around 20 years of age, was trying to come out of the manhole by opening the cover, but the pickup truck ran over the manhole cover, forcing the victim back down. The driver did not stop and continued driving the vehicle. The Los Angeles Fire Department arrived at the scene of the accident. The pedestrian eventually died from his sustained injuries. According to law enforcement, the victim's identity will not be announced until the family or relative has been informed. The LAPD is currently investigating this case and is asking for any witnesses to come forward or report any information regarding this tragic incident to Officer Takishita of the Valley Traffic Division at 818-644-8116. Anonymous tips are also welcome and can be reported to LA Regional Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or online at www.lacrimestoppers.org. In Panorama City, California, Aaron Rio Tutar, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
As you mentioned, Aaron, very tragic incident. Now, are there any reminders to the public due to this unfortunate accident?
Yes, Alan. The LAPD is strongly reminding residents that manhole covers are not for play and can result in serious, and in this case, fatal consequences. No one should ever try to remove the extremely heavy cover of these manholes or even enter one. According to the LAPD, we must leave these manholes for the sole use of city service workers that need to enter them in order to get to the underground maintenance tunnels. Alan?
Before we let you go, Aaron, we just want you to make a selection here. Hours, days, weeks, or months. When was the last time you enjoyed some French fries?
I'm gonna have to go with hours.
Fantastic answer. I think that's true for most of us. Thank you, Aaron, for your report.
Thank you.
More updates, plus business and entertainment news. Eagle News America will return shortly. Stay with us.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
This is Eagle News America. I'm Alan Basoyahe in Los Angeles. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti says he will have the same energy, commitment, and love for the city to his new role as ambassador to India if his nomination is confirmed. Mark Maranko has the details.
Thank you as always, Alan. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti released a statement on his nomination by President Joe Biden to serve as U.S. ambassador to India. Mayor Garcetti states, "I'm honored to accept his nomination to serve in this role. I love Los Angeles and will always be an Angelino. I want you to know that every day I am your mayor and I will continue to lead the city like it's my first day on the job with passion, focus, and determination. I've committed my life to the service and as an activist, as a teacher, and as a naval officer, as a public servant, and if confirmed, next as an ambassador. Part of that commitment means that when your nation calls, you answer the call. And should I be confirmed, I'll bring the same energy, commitment, and love for this city to my new role and will forge partnerships and connections that will help Los Angeles. Garcetti is currently in his second term as the Los Angeles mayor and has been in this office for 8 years since 2013. Prior to this, he had extensive experience as city council member for 12 years, with 6 years of that time span as council president. As the mayor of Los Angeles, Garcetti leads and manages the city in many significant aspects. He administers the Port of Los Angeles, the nation's busiest port, the Los Angeles International Airport, the nation's second busiest airport, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, the nation's largest municipal utility, and the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, the nation's second busiest public transportation system. On top of all of this, Mayor Garcetti was a moving force in bringing the 2028 Summer Olympic Games to the United States in 7 years from now in the year 2028, which will be the first in over 30 years since the country last hosted in 1996. And where in the U.S. will the 2020 Summer Olympic Games be held? If everything goes as planned, it will take place in none other than the city of Los Angeles. In Bakersfield, California, Mark Morenko, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Mark, from your report, Mayor Eric Garcetti, with all of that extensive experience you were talking about, he seems to be the ideal fit for this position as the U.S. ambassador to India. But what are your continued thoughts on this?
Well, Alan, I believe so, and so do many Angelinos. His list of leadership experiences is very lengthy. He's also among those who discovered and established climate mayors, which was participated by over 400 mayors in the country, including the Paris Climate Agreement for everyone to do their part in lessening global warming. And he is presently the chair of C40 Cities, an alliance of the world's 97 largest cities to undertake aggressive climate actions to solve the global environment crisis for a brighter and sustainable future for all mankind. Many Angelinos believe he's the perfect fit, but we'll be sad to see him leave Los Angeles once he is confirmed. That's my take. Back to you, Alan.
Well, I'm wondering if Mayor Eric Garcetti will miss fries. I don't know what kind of fries they have over in India, but what about you? Do you think that Los Angeles has some of the best fries anywhere around?
I would agree so. I think that fries are really popular anywhere, so I think Los Angeles is one of them.
I know where you're coming from. Everything goes when it comes to LA fries. Mark, thank you for your report.
Likewise, thank you, Alan.
Appreciating its 14,000 employees for their notable contribution as frontline workers, pizza chain Papa John's announces a new employment referral and bonus strategy. Megs Estrella reports.
Thank you, Alan. With life slowly returning to normal in Los Angeles County, many businesses are seeking ways to retain and quickly hire more staff to keep up with the demands brought on by the state's and county's full reopening of the economy. Papa John's is among these businesses with their announcement of the new employment referral and bonus strategy for their frontline corporate team, wherein about 14,000 crew members employed at their corporate restaurants and supply chain will be appreciated for their significant contributions to the overall growth and outstanding performance of the company. Papa John's will invest more in its current full-time employees to ensure future growth and success in this industry. The company aims to fund about $2.5 million in these various actions until the end of the year. Rob Lynch, CEO and president of Papa John's, states, "The incredible hard work and commitment of our team members, which powered Papa John's tremendous performance and transformation over the past 18 months, is just as important to our sustained long-term growth. Similar to program being offered by our franchises, these new bonuses for our team members in our corporate restaurants and QCCs reflect the value we place on growing, retaining, and supporting our dedicated team. In addition, we've made permanent the expanded health, wellness, paid time off, and college tuition benefits we rolled out during the pandemic as we strive to be the employer of choice within our dynamic industry." Papa John's International Corporation was established in 1984 with their slogan, Better Ingredients, Better Pizza. In their own words, they use high quality ingredients to build superior quality pizzas. They take pride in being the first nationwide pizza delivery chain to take out artificial flavors and synthetic colors from their menu. In Bakersfield, California, Mex Australia Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Report makes me hungrier and hungrier. Now, how much would corporate team members receive if they do qualify for that referral bonus?
Corporate team member that brings in a new hire and another $50 bonus to also the new corporate team member coming in. So this is a great incentive for both sides, the current employee and the one newly hired. In addition to this referral bonuses, all current corporate teams members will qualify to receive appreciation bonuses up to $400 that will be staggered in payments until the end of the year. Alan.
We've all had pizza that we couldn't finish, so we throw it in the fridge. In your experience, which tastes better, day-old pizza or day-old French fries?
I think day-old pizza. I like to make it toasty on the air fryer.
There you go. We'll have day-old pizza over at Meg's place. Thank you for your report. For entertainment news, Annabelle de Mesa is live with us tonight. Annabelle.
Thank you, Alan. After more than 20 years since the release of the original movie, Space Jam: A New Legacy is finally hitting theaters. Fans of the first Space Jam, starring the iconic Looney Tunes characters and the legendary Michael Jordan, will be delighted by what the current Los Angeles Laker, LeBron or King James, can bring to the blended animated and live-action franchise. This movie opens with James's personal life and his relationship with his son Dom, who wants to develop video games instead of playing his dad's beloved sport. After falling out, the father and son get trapped in the Warner 3000 server verse, a virtual space ruled by an artificial intelligence named Algae Rhythm, played by the ever-charismatic and comedic Don Cheadle. After Dom gets captured, LeBron has to lead the iconic Toon Squad, which includes Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, to win a basketball game against Algae's digitized NBA champions, the Goons, just so he and his son can come home. But don't worry, the Looney Tunes characters we love will get the moments they deserve too. They may even steal the show and make three-pointers along the way. Their new Space Jam film has a lot to offer. Stellar actors, cartoon characters, NBA stars such as Kyrie Irving and Chris Paul. We'll also hear an electric soundtrack headlined by Lil Baby, Lil Uzi Vert, and John Legend. It promises comedy, nostalgia, and homage to the cartoons we love from the beginning. It'll also remind us that parents, even one of the most skilled basketball players in the world, will do great things to connect with their children. Warner Brothers Pictures will distribute the film around the world. The movie will be in theaters across America on July 16, and it will be available on HBO Max for 31 days after its theatrical release. In Glendale, California, Annabelle de Mesa, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
So, Annabelle, from what we understand, this film is intended to appeal to families, but we can imagine that its charisma is, likely to even rebound off of older folks or even for people who don't like to play basketball. And from what you know, Annabelle, what makes films like this, Looney Tunes characters who haven't headlined their own major project for about 5 or even 10 years, it may not be known by younger generations, work so well?
Well, Alan, the Looney Tunes cast is a product of America's golden age of animation, so they'll always find their way back to the screens. These characters have become household names since their original show, and their reruns are always fun to watch. Space Jam undoubtedly left a blueprint for the Looney Tunes franchise to follow, so it'll always delight all generations through their universal love for basketball. Alan?
Speaking of movie theaters, we're starting to return. It's been quite a while for myself. Popcorn is the staple when you go to a movie theater, but if you had a choice between having a bucket of popcorn or a bucket of National French Fry Day, what would you choose?
Ooh, that's hard because I like both. I feel like every food has their own place, and I feel like popcorn can hold its throne on movies, but French fries will have its place elsewhere.
All right, so French fries, stay in your lane. Thanks, Annabelle, for your report.
That's right. Thank you, Alan.
Up next, EBC Sports and today's roundtable about who has the best French fries in our opinion.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net25.
As the NBA season comes to its end, basketball fans are now focusing their attention on the Olympics, where Team USA usually dominates. In exhibition play, however, there have been some surprising upsets. EJ Gonzalez has the story.
Thanks, Alan. Yes, Team USA men's basketball began their exhibition games this weekend in preparation for the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. Their first bout was against Nigeria, a country that the US has dominated over the previous years. Team USA has beaten Nigeria in the 2012 Olympics by 83 points and won by 44 points in an exhibition match 4 years after that. Now, with a starting five of NBA All-Star players Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, and Bam Adebayo, Team USA was the heavy favorite in this exhibition game against Nigeria. Nigeria, however, was able to pull an upset over Team USA in what sports analysts have called one of the greatest upsets in international basketball history. Yes, technically, this was just a practice game that doesn't affect the seeding in the Olympics, but nonetheless, Team USA seldomly loses in international meets like this. This was a huge victory for Nigeria. Now, the African nation did have some NBA talent on their team this time around and is being coached by Mike Brown, who has numerous years of NBA coaching experience. Nigeria started with 4 NBA players, Josh Okogie from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and 3 Miami Heat players, KZ Okpala, Gabe Vincent, and Precious Achiuwa. Now, Team USA's Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard, they struggled from the field, shooting 8 of 23 collectively. Meanwhile, Nigeria looked and played aggressive, making a statement in a big highlight play from Precious Achiuwa, blocking a dunk attempt from Kevin Durant. Now, Gabe Vincent displayed great shooting, going 6 of 8 from three-point line. Vincent led all scorers, that includes those on Team USA in this exhibition match, with 21 points and pushed Nigeria to this historic victory, 90-87. Nigeria is the first and only African team to defeat the US in any game. Now, Team USA had a chance to redeem themselves in their matchup against Australia last night, but failed to get the win. Australia has 6 NBA players on their roster, including Aaron Baines, Patty Mills, Joe Ingles, Matthew Dellavedova, Dante Exum, and Matisse Thybulle. Now, Australia defeated Team USA 91-83 in this exhibition match. Australia's Joe Ingles, who plays for the Utah Jazz, after the game said, "We walked into this game expecting to win. Since the assembly of the Dream Team in 1992, where it was first allowed for professional players to play for Team USA, the US never lost consecutive games until last night." Damian Lillard, one of the Team USA stars, when asked about the 2 losses, said that this isn't the first time Team USA has been tested. Other countries have continued to improve, the players continue to get more confident, and everyone wants to beat Team USA, and they can notice that when they're on the court. With these 2 losses, other countries have built their confidence, making Team USA's road to the Olympic gold a little bit bumpier. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
EJ, Team USA might need to lay off those French fries. That might be the reason why they're losing their games. But who knows? But how concerned are you about Team USA for the Tokyo Olympics?
You know, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I'd probably be at a 5. Reason being, since 1992, these guys have lost only 4 games ever. And 2 of those came in the previous days. So it's a little bit concerning, especially when you have a roster with a Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard. I don't know. It's just, I don't see why they're losing these matchups, even if they are just exhibition games. Well, tonight, They finally won their first exhibition games against Argentina, so hopefully that's a sign of good things to come.
Right, just don't have Team USA challenge them in soccer. Now, speaking of rosters, we're talking about the food world here. When it comes to French fries, fast food French fries or gourmet French fries, which of these two makes the team, in your opinion?
Fast food, only because it's so easily accessible.
There you go. Thanks, EJ. We'll talk to you also about French fries in just a little bit.
All right.
All right, for our viewers, if you haven't noticed by now, we've been talking about French fries because July 13 is National French Fry Day. And while we're not endorsing any particular restaurant, we will share tonight all of our personal opinions about our favorite fries. At this time, I want to bring back our Eagle News team for a little discussion about some French fries. Excellent right there. So we're just going to go ahead and go in order, top to bottom, straight across, about some of the more interesting French fries that you've sampled. Let's go first with EJ. What French fry combinations have you been able to enjoy in your lifetime?
Well, I love French fries. Definitely. If it's just simple French fries, no toppings, I gotta go with Five Guys because they have these Cajun fries and they're just perfect to me. Now with toppings, carne asada fries are definitely one of my favorites. But there's this there's this Filipino restaurant here in Maryland, and they have some specialty fries. One of them is barbecue brisket fries. It's so good. You got to try it. It's from Gigi's Kitchen if you're ever in Washington, D.C., Alan. I think that's definitely a place you got to visit. And they also have a boba shop with it, so you can enjoy some boba with your French fries.
Well, EJ, I might have to ask you to be my tour guide. Now, you mentioned Five Guys. I've just recently experienced Five Guys, and maybe I'll have to sample how they taste here in Southern California, visit you over in your neck of the woods and see if there's any difference. Now, EJ, wouldn't you agree that French fries, because they're sort of just a very neutral spud, right, when it comes to flavor, that's why they're so great with just about anything, because they soak up and actually enhance what we're tasting.
Definitely. It's kind of like rice, right? Rice you could put with anything. I think French fries is in the same boat.
And just like rice, if it's not in moderation, it can be a little bit deadly. Now we're going to move on. EJ, you might have taken some of the favorites out of the minds of some of our other correspondents, but let's find out what they have to say. Maylin, you're up next. Before we talk about any kind of fast food fries, what are some of the more interesting fry combinations you've experienced?
Well, I've definitely tried the carne asada fries. That is delicious. And then over here in the local, we have similar to carne asada, but including in the toppings are black beans, mild salsa, cheese. It's just delicious. I do not have words to even describe how delicious that is.
I think just about every jurisdiction has a version of that carne asada with just about everything on it, all these Mexican toppings on it that you could describe. When was the last time you indulged in something like that?
Yesterday. Just yesterday. I might come back today. Who knows?
Well, Maylin, I do have bad news for you because yesterday was not National Fry Day. So I'm afraid you're going to have to return, like you said, and try it out one more time. Is that a deal?
Sounds like not a problem to me at all.
So speaking of deals, we know for Emerson, fries are a pretty big deal. You made mention of that when we talked about it earlier. But before we get into any kind of fast food fries, what are some maybe gourmet fries or fry combinations that you've enjoyed?
I have a really big affinity for chili cheese fries, actually. Some gourmet, or some just like out of any food franchise. I believe if I'm in a hurry to get chili cheese fries, maybe Tommy's right around the corner in my area, or if I'm willing to travel, probably all the way to Pasadena area. They have some pretty good chili cheese fries there. So, yeah.
Right, and with respect to Virginia, EJ, I think Tommy's might just be around here in Los Angeles. Tommy's spelled with two M's, double M, not to be confused with the single M, which is Tommy's, because I did enter a Tommy's before, and their chili cheese fries were not the same. You know, Emerson, when it comes to chili cheese fries, the younger you are, the more of a cast iron stomach you have, but the older you get, I think you can only afford to indulge in chili cheese fries maybe once every quarter. When was the last time you had chili cheese fries?
Last year.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's about time for a return trip for you, and I'll join you because that'll be my once in a quarter indulgence for myself. Aaron, how about you? Don't just give us a regular, salt and pepper fries. Talk to us some of these amazing fries you've tasted.
Some fries that I think are kind of underrated are curly fries, but the only curly fries I've tried are the ones from Jack in the Box. I haven't really tried anywhere else. Yeah.
Aaron, how infuriating is it when you order that large curly fries from, you mentioned Jack in the Box. Again, we're not endorsing any particular fast food chain or restaurant, but since you mentioned it, how infuriating is it when you order that large curly fries, the box curly fries from Jack in the Box, you dig in and then you find a straight French fry. It's like, you didn't pay for this and you got some regular French fries.
Well, it gives a bit of variety. I don't know, maybe you're getting tired of the curls and stuff, so you just want a straight fry.
I understand you swallow your anger along with the straight French fry that came with your curly fries. Are we correct?
That is correct.
No fry goes to waste, even if it's the wrong variety. Mark, talk to us. What are some of the best fries you've enjoyed?
Alan, surprisingly, the best fries that I had were sisig fries. And if you haven't had the opportunity to try that, the In-N-Out fries, I believe, are the standard fries. Go home, make some sisig, put those on top. You'll enjoy yourself. I guarantee it.
Right. That's like a Filipino, right? A Filipino dish, but you want to put kind of like substitute rice for fries. Is that what we're looking at?
Yep, just like a carne asada fries, except with sisig.
Amazing. Living life on the edge. That's Mr. Mark Marenco. All right. Maricar, talk to us. Tell us about some of the best fries you've had.
Let's see. Well, basically, a lot of the things that I like has already been mentioned, but I do like carne asada fries. There's especially a food truck next to my university that when I was living in university, I definitely ate a lot from, and it was right next to it was a food truck. It was a food truck right next to another food truck, which was selling fruit yogurt. So it was like fruit yogurt or French fries. So I was like French fries most of the time.
Maricar, yeah. I believe you gave the best description of where to find the best food truck with fries. Look for the one that's next to another food truck that sells some kind of yogurt, and you'll know to choose the other food truck. Excellent. We understand college life, really, you have to experience the fry life. Let's move on to Annabelle. Annabelle, talk to us. We know that fries don't belong to movie theaters, but where have you tasted fries, or what are some of the best fries you've had?
Oh my gosh, shout out to The Hat, especially the one in Pasadena. I actually went there and got the chili cheese fries from The Hat because my friend lived near there. And I thought, okay, this thing fed 4 to 7 people, so I might as well share it with him while we play some video games. And he didn't want any. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just eat some a little bit while we play and I'll just take the rest home. Couple hours passed and all of the fries were gone. And I was like, wait a minute, where did the fries go? And it turns out I ate the whole thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how was that even possible? This is supposed to feed like an entire party. And I managed to mindlessly eat all of them within the span of 2 hours. I was supposed to take it to work tomorrow. But no, I guess I just liked it so much. It's like my body just gonna be like, no, keep it going. And then it's gone. And it was great. But oh my God.
It's okay, Annabelle. If you snooze, you lose. At least your friends could enjoy the big smile on your face. Make sure to wipe your mouth, though, before you come back to the table.
I remember that at least.
Megs, talk to us. Best fry experience for you.
For me, mine is pretty simple. I just like the garlic parmesan at Potato Corner and with lots of tomato ketchup. And that's it. I'm pretty happy with that.
No nonsense. I couldn't agree with you more. And now, before we wrap things up, I just recently heard that there's a fry combination with cheese and mayonnaise. I don't know that I've ever had that, but you know what? Tonight might be the time to experiment. And the one group of folks that we would also like to send over some fries to if we get the chance is, of course, our wonderful frontline workers. We can't forget them, our first responders and essential workers. We want to recognize them with a much-deserved round of applause. We appreciate you for all that you do. That is today's Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alan Basoyahe. We live in interesting times.
Start up your weekday mornings with edutainment, news, and information.